In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, one God, Amen. We are still in the first month of the Coptic year, the month of Tut, and the 4 Sundays readings talk about a summary of the readings of the 4 Sundays. The first Sunday we heard John the Baptist witnessing to Christ, how Christ was witnessing also for John the Baptist. He is the greatest born of women. And the second week, which was last week, how do you read when a law teacher, Namusi, wanted to test Christ? He asked him, what's the greatest commandments? And then Christ asked him, you love God from all your heart and your neighbor as yourself. And then Christ asked him, how do you read? What's your reading of it? How do you read? Not what you read. He asked him, how do you read? John the Baptist was a sign of a person who committed his life to the truth, committed everything, even his neck, sacrificed his life to witness to the truth, commitment to the truth. And the second week, how do you read? How do you see the truth? That was the message last week. How do you see the truth? Some people open the Bible to see what they want to see only. They want to see, they don't want to hear the message that God is telling them. They want to hear their own message. It's a projection from within on the gospel to read what they want to read. The message that only appeals to them. How do you read or how do you see the truth? And today we hear the gospel of Jesus entering to the house of Zacchaeus, the chief tax collector. And because of that Christ, he sought after Christ. He went after Christ, searching for him. Christ entered his house, and through that, Zacchaeus was healed. He was healed through the interaction with the truth. And next week we will see the gospel of the sinful woman in the house of the Pharisee, Simeon the Pharisee, and how loving Christ saved her and forgave her sins. So if anything, the message that we should focus on is the truth. All the 4 Sundays, where is the truth? What is the truth? How do I see it? Where is it? How do I find it? How to interact with it? And what does it represent? What does it represent to me? Christ said about himself, he is the way and the truth and the life. And هو القيامة والحق والحياة. The resurrection, the way, or the truth and the life. He heals from diseases and he forgives sins as a gift. Why? Because he loves us. As a sign of his love, healing and forgiveness of sins. He will even defend you when people try to put you down. Like what we heard today. When people were complaining, when he was in the house of Zacchaeus, he entered the house of Zacchaeus and people started to say this. But when they saw the crowd, يعني اللي حواليه, when the crowd saw it, so that he entered to the house of Zacchaeus, they all complained, saying, he has gone to be a guest with a man who is a sinner. And this is what Christ told them. Actually, listen to this. Before Christ defends Zacchaeus, Zacchaeus felt to say something. And what Zacchaeus said was very interesting. He said, look, Lord, I give half of my goods to the poor, and if I have taken anything from anyone by false accusation, I restore fourfold. This is when Christ declared his defense for this man. And he said, today salvation has come to this house because he also is a son of Abraham. Christ will offer healing, will offer forgiveness of sins, and more than that, he will offer protection. He gives that freely because he loves us. We all know that. We hear today salvation has come to this house because he also is son of Abraham. I think all of us want to hear that. Not that we're not saved, we're just tangled up in too many life burdens that's crushing our spiritual life, not allowing us to enjoy our spiritual life. We choose. When we look at Zacchaeus, this man was rich, chief tax collector, very rich man, but also he was hated. Maybe he was ruthless, maybe he didn't have mercy. We don't know exactly why they hated him, but that tax collector job was not really accepted in the Jewish community back then. He was rich, but he was hated. And when he heard about Jesus, there was a sincere desire in his heart. I want to see this man. He wanted to look for him. But knowing, he knows this, knowing that he's hated, he can't really push his way through the crowds to see Christ. I can't be among the crowd because I know they hate me. They don't like me. I'm not accepted. By the way, this is a harsh truth. I've heard this many times from different people. Abuna, when we come to the church, I don't feel accepted. I don't know why. I don't feel people really accept me. I feel the looks of judgment going through my face, my heart. It's going through me like bullets. And usually Zacchaeus' example is, you come to church not to seek approval from people. We always tell them that. You don't come to church to seek approval from anyone. You come to church because you want to see Christ. Zacchaeus had to go over a sycamore tree. For being a short man, I can just let you imagine how difficult that was for him to climb the tree, to go on the top of the tree. Not just difficult, but also humiliating. دي حاجة يعني ما كانتش. He's a rich man, but to climb a tree like a squirrel or a monkey, الناس تقعد تضحك عليه, it was not something that he was looking for, but he did it anyway. Because the goal in his mind was to meet Christ. He didn't care for people looking at him. And when even people complained about him and accused him of doing so and so, he stood up and he declared the truth. He declared his truth. He interacted with Christ. He saw love, and he saw this man still wanted to go to his house regardless or despite of the bad image that he has. And then he declared that he's going to refund everyone. If he did injustice to anyone, he will reimburse them fourfold. If I took $100 from anyone, I will return it $400. Remember, he's a tax collector. He knows his numbers. And he knows that this is more than enough to recompensate any injustice that he did to anyone. And we always tell people, when you see someone who is new or someone who is struggling to come to church, we tell them, show kindness. Kindness is not difficult. Unfortunately, sometimes we forget to be kind to one another. We let our mind wander around, think about things, and then we're not really paying attention to how we are looking at that person. In that moment, the person who feels judged really is under a lot of pressure. They don't want to come to church. They don't want to interact with the group. They want to interact with anyone. Those who are decent, they say, I don't, I'm busy. I don't want to come because I'm busy. When I have time, I will come. But those who are honest, they would say, Abuna, I went to church. I listened to what you asked me to. I went to church and this is what happened. People there were not kind at all. I'll give you another example. Even sometimes when a little kid make noise in the church, without even noticing, we all look at the mother or at the father and give them the looks. They're not judging. We're not judging, and we should be kind. We're not supposed to. Some people offer help. Do you need help with the kid? You're not going to be able to offer help. The kid will not listen to you if they're not listening to their father or mother. That's for sure. But say a prayer for them instead of telling them, I can't hear or I can't pray, I can do anything. Just say a prayer in your heart. And I assure you, if you do that, people will feel it. If they can feel the thoughts that are going through your minds when you talk to them or when you look at them, they can also feel the prayer if you pray for them. The struggle is real, and Zacchaeus had to declare that my burden that made the people hate me for it, which is the money or the love of money, I am willing to give at your feet. It's not controlling me anymore. Whatever the burden that we're struggling with that's preventing us from seeking God, the burden that, forgive me if I say this sometimes, when I'm so sensitive, it's not a good sign. It means I cannot take criticism. I cannot, my value is coming from how people see me, and that's dangerous. It doesn't matter, as long as you know your value, it doesn't matter how people see you. As long as you hold yourself and you do the right thing, it doesn't matter how people see you. Of course, it's not that black and white. There is a sense of wisdom has to be used, but you don't need validation from anyone to tell you that you're good or bad. That's a dangerous sign. There is a problem with ego when we go to that area and linger there for long. My ego needs to be polished and clean all the time. That's dangerous. There shouldn't be any ego, and that's tough. That's not easy. That's a continuous fight. Zacchaeus didn't care about his image when he climbed that tree. Didn't really mind, didn't shy away from standing in front of everyone when they complained about him. It's like, you know what? I understand why you're mad, and I understand why you hate me, but you don't hate me for being me. You hate me because of what I did to you. I'm going to fix that. Because when I interact with Christ, I don't want this burden to stay on my shoulders forever. I want to be freed. I want to be liberated. Something to think about, to reflect on. Please, when you sit with yourself to judge yourself, revisit your old convictions. Revisit the stuff that accumulated over the years in your mind about who you are. Revisit them and test them. Sometimes they are wrong. Sometimes they are wrong. يقول لك أعيد دراسة القناعات القديمة لديك. Revisit them. Restudy them. So you can grow. So you can mature both spiritually and in heavenly wisdom. So you can get closer to the real truth. So your truth align with the real truth. And now you can live in light. And instead of living in a struggle, feeling that you're carrying that burden all the time. I'll conclude with this. In the Matins this morning, the reading of the psalm says, those who know your name will put their trust in you. Those who know your name will put their trust in you. As a Christian person, we are always required to sit with the Bible, to reveal our hearts to the Bible, and to seek the truth. I don't take anything for granted. I am learning myself. I don't know myself fully yet. It's a process. Sometimes it takes a whole life. I need to get to know me, who I am, what I do, and examine this against the word of the Bible so I can pinpoint where my burdens are and fix them. May God always allow us to see His work in our life and to grant us healing and salvation. To Him is glory forever.